Natural acoustics and reflections occur once a voice leaves the human body. It's actually going into the air. And the air it's basically, once it's in the air, it's bouncing off the walls or whatever environment you might be in. And that's why I kind of wanted to look at what's going on naturally in our world. First of all, sound moves at a certain speed. Sound moves at 1,130 feet per second, and that's kind of rounded off so we can do some simple math. So if sound is moving at 1,130 feet per second, that means it can take a certain amount of time to get from one place to another place. And a lot of these calculations have been figured out by people that have created recording technology. So the idea that I'm in a room that's maybe, I don't know, what is this, 1, 2, 3 feet away from me, I can actually figure out how long it takes for my voice to actually travel that 3-foot distance. And that's by taking the idea of the second, 1,130 feet per second, and subdividing it by the number of milliseconds in a second. And I say, oh, it's getting really difficult in mathematics. No, it's simple math. 1,000 into 1,130 is 1.1 feet per millisecond. Remember when I said that wall is 3 feet away from me? It takes about 3 milliseconds for the sound to get from my mouth to that wall. But guess what? There's another wall up there, or a ceiling up there. There's a wall over there. There's a floor. There's a wall back there. There's a wall back there. And all of these things are being reflected out of my head as a cavity, as something that's retaining sound and propelling sound. So when you're a recording engineer, or if you're doing a do-it-yourself project, your environment and the reflective surfaces in that environment are actually very important when it concerns the recorded vocal. So if I have a piano sitting here, or a microphone stand sitting here, or a music stand sitting here, there's the potential for there to be some reflections. And if those reflections come into the mic, they could actually create some other types of very, very bizarre sounds and ambiances in your recorded vocal performance. So the idea of your acoustic environment and the reflections in that acoustic environment are really important when it comes to vocal recording and vocal recording technology. So I gave you the general idea of sound coming out and bouncing around the walls, but there are also different materials that can create different types of resonant sounds once the signal hits those materials. There are absorptive materials, there are reflective materials. A reflective material would be like the tile in your bathroom. And everyone knows when you go into the bathroom, those shower singers, you really, really sound good, and that's because of the reflections going on in the shower. But most recording studios have absorptive materials so that we can kind of deaden the sound, so we get a lot more clarity and a lot more purity with the vocal recording that we're doing on that day. So this idea that you can record anywhere is true, but you can record anywhere and also pick up the anywhere sound in your vocal recording performance. So your environment is actually important, and it's not something that you can just fluff around and do anything that you want with. If you take a couch out of a living room and that's your DIY space, that space might get actually more reverberant. You put the couch back in and you really start to find out that couch is actually absorbing some of the signal that might have been coming into your microphone. So it's really important to know what's going on. There is something called the axial mode reflection, the tangential mode reflection, the oblique mode reflection, and I know I've already given you enough math, but using those calculations can help you to kind of work out what's actually going on in your room, so that when you're recording a vocalist, you'll know that you're getting as pure a vocal performance as possible. So as I said before, things like a microphone stand or a music stand could create reflections. Or if you're in a booth and there's like a glass in the booth and you've got the singer singing at the glass, that glass could be creating a reflection. That reflection can actually peel back into the microphone and cause some strange artifacts for your vocal recording. So the idea that we come from the source, which is the human voice, into a recording environment, and that we need to manage that environment is actually kind of important in terms of the vocal production chain. And I want to look at a couple of other things, like if someone comes to me and says, Prince Charles, I want you to produce my vocal, I want you to look at a few more things that I would have to think about other than just the style of the voice, the quality of the voice, and the reflective environment, and that's going to be the key and the tempo of the song. So we'll see you in a second.